The hospital room became quiet as Olivia held the newborn baby in her arms, with tears running down her face. Next to her stood Noah, the single father who had changed her life forever with his impossible request. "I never thought I would say this," he whispered, his voice shaking with feelings. "But thank you for giving me a family when I thought I had lost everything." As they looked at each other over their sleeping daughter's face, Olivia realized that what had started as a desperate business deal had grown into the greatest love story she never expected to have. If you are enjoying this emotional journey, please hit that like button and subscribe for more heartwarming stories that will keep you coming back for more. Your support means everything to us. 1 year earlier, Olivia Morgan walked through the shiny headquarters of Morgan Industries, her high heels clicking loudly against the marble floor. At 36, she had done what few women in business had done, building a technology company worth billions of dollars and earning her place among the most powerful CEOs in the country. Her smooth black hair was pulled into a tight bun, her fitted suit like armor of success. "The board is waiting, Ms. Morgan," her assistant said, walking quickly beside her with a tablet full of reports. Olivia nodded shortly. These meetings had once been her moment of victory, a chance to show off her brilliance and ideas. Today, however, fear pulled at her stomach. For the first time in her career, the numbers weren't good. She pushed open the boardroom doors with practiced confidence, her face showing nothing of the worry inside. 12 men and 2 women sat around the huge table, their faces showing concern and anticipation. "Good morning," Olivia began, her voice steady. "Before we look at the reports, I have an announcement." The room fell silent, all eyes on her. "As you know, my grandfather started this company 50 years ago. What you don't know is that his will, which was recently fully carried out, had an unusual rule." She paused, the words sticking in her throat. "To keep controlling interest in Morgan Industries, I must have a child within the next 12 months. Whispers broke out around the table. Harold Jenkins, her biggest opponent on the board, didn't bother to hide his smirk. "And if you don't, then my controlling shares go to my cousin Robert, who, as you all know, has been trying to sell the company to our competitors for years." The meaning was clear. Under Robert's control, Morgan Industries would be torn apart, its new technologies sold to the highest bidders, its 5,000 employees scattered everywhere. "Your personal life is your own, Olivia," said Diana Chin, one of the few board members Olivia considered a friend. "But the company's stability affects us all. What's your plan?" It was the question Olivia had been dreading. At 36, she had put her career first over relationships. There was no partner in the picture, no chance of a traditional family anytime soon. "I'm looking at all options," she said vaguely. "Now, shall we turn to the reports?" The meeting continued, but Olivia could feel the shift in the room, the quiet recalculation of loyalties, the mental preparation for a change in leadership. By the time she returned to her office, her assistant had already received 3 calls from board members requesting private meetings. Olivia closed her office door and leaned against it, allowing herself a rare moment of weakness. The empire she had built, the legacy she had expanded, all of it hanging by the thread of an old-fashioned condition set by a man who valued bloodlines above all else. Her phone buzzed with a text from her best friend, Zoe. "How did it go? Drinks tonight?" Olivia sighed and typed back, "Worse than expected. Definitely need drinks." That evening, in a quiet corner of an upscale bar, Olivia drank a martini while Zoe listened to her problem. "This is insane," Zoe declared after Olivia finished explaining. "It's 2026. How is this even legally allowed?" "The company rules were written by my grandfather, and I never changed them," Olivia admitted. "I never thought it would matter. So, what are you going to do? Sperm donor? Dating app marathon?" Olivia grimaced. "I've been to 3 fertility specialists. The outlook isn't good. Years of stress, irregular hours, postponing regular checkups. My chances of getting pregnant naturally are very slim, and even with IVF, the odds aren't great." Zoe reached across the table to squeeze her friend's hand. "What about surrogacy?" "That's the best option, but it's complicated. Finding someone I trust, the legal arrangements, the time frame. Olivia trailed off, overwhelmed by all the details. What about adoption? The will specifically says biological heir. My grandfather was very specific. Zoe shook her head in disbelief. So, you need a surrogate and a biological father, all within a year. No pressure. Exactly, Olivia said, finishing her martini. Well, at least the father part should be easy enough. You're gorgeous, successful, and not looking for commitment. Plenty of men would jump at that opportunity. Olivia wasn't so sure. She needed someone reliable, someone who wouldn't try to use their position for money or company influence, someone who understood boundaries. But as if reading her thoughts, Zoe's eyes suddenly widened. Oh, what about that single dad from the charity event last month? The one who gave that amazing speech about his daughter's battle with leukemia? Olivia frowned, trying to remember. Morgan Industries had sponsored a fundraiser for children's cancer research, but she had been distracted, her mind on work. Tall guy, sandy hair, works as an architect or engineer or something, Zoe prompted. Noah Walker, that was his name. His daughter is in remission now, but he talked about how the medical bills nearly made him go broke even with insurance. A vague memory appeared, a man speaking passionately about healthcare reform, his voice breaking as he described holding his daughter through chemotherapy treatments. There had been something compelling about his rawness, so different from the polished corporate speeches she was used to. I remember him, Olivia said slowly. But why would he agree to something like this? Zoe shrugged. Money, security for his daughter. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's a place to start. The next day, Olivia had her assistant pull the contact information for all the speakers at the charity event. Noah Walker's file was thin. He owned a small architectural firm specializing in sustainable design, was 38 years old, and had a 7-year-old daughter named Emma. His wife had died during childbirth, leaving him to raise their daughter alone. Olivia hesitated, her finger hovering over his number. What she was considering was outrageous, approaching a virtual stranger with a proposition that sounded more like a business merger than a human relationship. But time was running out and her options were limited. Before she could talk herself out of it, she dialed. Walker Sustainable Design. This is Noah. His voice was deeper than she remembered, with a warmth that caught her off guard. Mr. Walker, this is Olivia Morgan from Morgan Industries. We met at the Children's Cancer Research Gala last month. There was a pause. Ms. Morgan, of course. Your company's donation helped fund the new pediatric wing where my daughter received treatment. How can I help you? Olivia took a deep breath. I was wondering if you might be available for lunch tomorrow. There's a matter I'd like to discuss with you. Another pause, longer this time. Is this about a design project? No, it's more personal in nature. I see. His tone was cautious now. May I ask what this is regarding? Olivia gripped the phone tighter. It's somewhat complicated to explain over the phone. I assure you it's nothing inappropriate, but it is a sensitive matter. After what felt like forever, Noah replied, I have a client meeting until 1:30 tomorrow. I could meet you at 2 o'clock. Perfect. There's a cafe called Bluebird on 7th Street. Private booths, excellent food. I know it, Noah said. I'll see you then, Ms. Morgan. Olivia spent the rest of the day and most of the night rehearsing her proposal, trying to frame it in a way that wouldn't sound offensive or exploitative. By the time she arrived at the cafe the next day, she had decided on a direct approach: lay out the situation, offer generous payment, and emphasize the boundaries. Noah Walker was already seated when she arrived, his tall frame looking somewhat out of place in the dainty cafe chair. He stood as she approached, and Olivia was struck again by his presence. In jeans and a simple button-down shirt, he looked nothing like the corporate men she usually dealt with. Yet, he carried himself with quiet confidence. Miss Morgan, he greeted her, extending his hand. Please call me Olivia, she said, shaking his hand firmly. They ordered coffee and Olivia waited until the server had left before speaking. Thank you for meeting me, Mr. Walk. Noah, he corrected with a small smile. Noah, she acknowledged. I'll get straight to the point. I find myself in an unusual situation, and I believe you might be in a position to help me. She explained her grandfather's rule, the threat to her company, and her medical challenges, keeping her tone businesslike, despite the personal nature of the discussion. Noah listened without interruption, his expression unreadable. When she finished, he sat back in his chair, studying her face. Let me make sure I understand, he said finally. You need a biological child within a year to keep control of your company. You're asking me to be the biological father, and you'll use a surrogate to carry the child. In return, you're offering financial payment. Olivia nodded. Yes, the payment would be enough to secure your daughter's future education and any medical needs she might have. I would also cover all expenses related to the surrogacy process. And what would my role be after the child is born? The question caught Olivia off guard. She had assumed he would want minimal involvement. That would be up to you. Legally, you would give up parental rights, but I wouldn't object to you having a relationship with the child if that's what you wanted. Noah's expression hardened slightly. So, you're basically asking me to sell my DNA and walk away. Put that way, it sounded cold, even to Olivia's ears. I'm asking for your help in a difficult situation. The arrangement would benefit us both. Would it? Noah challenged. You get what you need. An heir to secure your empire. What does the child get? A mother too busy running a corporation to be present. A life measured in stock values and quarterly reports. Olivia felt a flash of anger. You know nothing about what kind of mother I would be. You're right, Noah conceded. I don't. Just as you know nothing about what kind of father I am beyond a speech I gave at a charity event. The tension between them was strong. Olivia had not expected this level of resistance. Most men she dealt with in business were motivated by financial gain or professional advancement. Noah Walker seemed to operate on a different value system entirely. Perhaps this was a mistake, she said stiffly, reaching for her purse. Wait, Noah said, his voice softer. I'm not saying no. I'm saying your proposal needs work. You're approaching this like a business transaction, but we're talking about creating a human life. Olivia hesitated. What would you suggest? Get to know me first. Meet my daughter. Let me see who you are beyond the CEO persona. Then we can discuss whether this makes sense for everyone involved. It was not the response Olivia had anticipated, but she recognized the wisdom in his approach. A child deserved more consideration than a corporate merger. All right, she agreed. Where do we start? The answer came the following Saturday when Olivia found herself in a small park watching Noah push his daughter on a swing. Emma Walker was small for her age, her frame still recovering from the effects of leukemia treatments, but her laughter was strong and contagious as she demanded to go, higher, Daddy, higher. Olivia sat on a nearby bench, feeling oddly out of place in her casual clothes, designer jeans, and a simple blouse that had cost more than most people's entire wardrobes, but still represented her version of dressing down. After a while, Noah and Emma joined her, the little girl looking at Olivia with curious eyes. Are you Daddy's girlfriend? Emma asked bluntly. Olivia nearly choked on her water. No, sweetheart. Your dad and I are friends. Daddy doesn't have many friends, Emma informed her matter-of-factly. He says he doesn't have time. Noah's cheeks reddened slightly. Emma, remember what we discussed about private conversations? Emma nodded seriously. Sorry, Daddy. Then to Olivia, do you like ice cream? There's a truck that comes here on Saturdays with the best chocolate swirl. And just like that, Olivia found herself buying ice cream cones for a talkative 7-year-old who proceeded to ask her questions about everything from her favorite color to whether she believed aliens existed. By the end of the afternoon, Olivia's designer jeans had grass stains from a surprise game of tag, and she had learned more about dinosaurs than she had ever thought possible, courtesy of Emma's encyclopedic knowledge of the subject. As they walked Emma back to the car, the little girl skipping ahead, Noah glanced at Olivia. "So, what do you think of my daughter?" "She's remarkable," Olivia said honestly. "Smart, funny, resilient. You've done an amazing job with her." Noah's expression softened. "She's my whole world. After her mother died and then the cancer diagnosis, there were days I thought I couldn't go on. But Emma never lost her spirit, even on the worst days of treatment." Olivia felt a pang of something unfamiliar. Admiration mixed with a strange longing. How do you balance it all? Your work, being a single parent, her medical needs. "Not always gracefully," Noah admitted with a rueful smile. "There have been plenty of cereal for dinner nights and last-minute project extensions. But you make it work for the people you love." The concept was foreign to Olivia, whose life had always been carefully scheduled and controlled. Love had never been a factor in her decision-making process. "Your turn next weekend," Noah said as they reached his car. "Show us something from your world." Olivia blinked. "My world isn't exactly child-friendly. You might be surprised what Emma can handle. Besides, if we're considering creating a child who would be part of that world, we should see what we're getting into." The logic was sound, if uncomfortable. Olivia nodded. "Next Saturday, then." The following weekend, Olivia found herself giving a private tour of Morgan Industries' Innovation Lab to an awestruck Emma and an observant Noah. The lab was usually off-limits to visitors, but as CEO, Olivia had the authority to make exceptions. Emma's eyes widened as she took in the robotics prototypes, the holographic displays, and the various experiments in progress. "This is like a science fiction movie," she exclaimed. Olivia couldn't help but smile at the child's enthusiasm. "Would you like to see something really special?" she asked, leading them to a secure room at the back of the lab. Inside, a team of engineers was working on the company's most ambitious project yet, an artificial intelligence system designed to revolutionize healthcare diagnostics. "This is Arya," Olivia explained, gesturing to the complex array of servers and interfaces. "She can analyze medical data thousands of times faster than human doctors and identify patterns they might miss. Once she's fully operational, she could help diagnose diseases like cancer much earlier when they're more treatable." Noah looked impressed despite himself. "This could save countless lives." "That's the goal," Olivia said. "My grandfather started this company making simple medical devices. This is the natural evolution of his vision using technology to improve and save lives." "Is this why you fight so hard to keep control?" Noah asked quietly while Emma was distracted by an engineer showing her how the interface worked. Olivia nodded. "My cousin would sell this technology to the highest bidder. It would become a luxury for the wealthy instead of a tool for everyone." For the first time, Noah seemed to truly understand what was at stake. Not just Olivia's personal empire, but a vision that could change the world. After the tour, they had lunch in Olivia's private dining room, where Emma peppered her with questions about how she became a CEO and whether girls could be engineers. "Girls can be anything they want to be," Olivia told her firmly. "Some of my best engineers are women." "Even if they've been sick?" Emma asked, her voice smaller. Olivia felt her heart tighten. "Especially then. Being sick teaches you to be strong." As weeks turned into months, Olivia found herself drawn deeper into Noah and Emma's world. Sunday picnics, weeknight homework sessions, and surprise movie nights became the highlights of her once work-dominated life. "You've changed," Noah observed one evening as they watched Emma sleeping peacefully on the couch, her head resting on Olivia's lap. "Is that a good thing?" Olivia asked, gently stroking Emma's hair. "I think you know the answer," he replied, his eyes holding hers with an intensity that made her heart race. The business arrangement they'd initially discussed had evolved into something neither had anticipated. Olivia found herself caring less about the company deadline and more about the moments she shared with Noah and Emma. For the first time in her life, she understood what it meant to put someone else's happiness before her own ambition. When Emma's cancer showed signs of returning, Olivia didn't hesitate. She redirected Arya's development team to focus exclusively on Emma's case, using the AI's pattern recognition to identify a treatment protocol that conventional medicine had overlooked. "You didn't have to do this," Noah said, his voice breaking as they stood outside Emma's hospital room, watching as the new treatment was given. "Yes, I did," Olivia replied simply. "She's family now." The word hung between them, loaded with meaning neither was ready to fully acknowledge. 2 months before her grandfather's deadline, Olivia faced the board again. This time, however, she wasn't alone. Noah stood beside her, his hand steady on her back. "I've called this meeting to announce some changes," Olivia began, her voice confident. "First, I will be restructuring the company bylaws to eliminate outdated succession requirements." Harold Jenkins leaned forward. "You can't do that without majority shareholder approval." "Yes, I'm aware," Olivia interrupted. "Which brings me to my second announcement." She took a deep breath. "Noah Walker and I were married last weekend in a private ceremony." Gasps echoed around the table. "As my husband, Noah now shares my voting rights. Together, we have the authority to amend the bylaws." Diana Chen was the first to recover. "Congratulations, Olivia, and welcome to the family, Mr. Walker." "There's one more thing," Noah added, squeezing Olivia's hand. "We're expecting a child, not because of some old-fashioned requirement, but because we want to build a family together." Later that night, as they tucked Emma into bed in their new home, the little girl looked up at them with serious eyes. "Does this mean I'm going to be a big sister for real?" "Yes, sweetheart," Noah confirmed, kissing her forehead. "And we'll always be a family," Olivia promised, her hand resting protectively over her still flat stomach. "Some families are born, and some are chosen. We're the luckiest kind. We're both." As Noah pulled her close in the hallway outside Emma's room, Olivia marveled at how her life had transformed. What had begun as a desperate business proposition had blossomed into the kind of love she'd never believed existed outside of fairy tales. "No regrets," Noah whispered against her hair. Olivia smiled, thinking of the empire she'd been so desperate to save, now merely one part of a much richer life. "Only that I didn't meet you sooner." 6 months later, as Olivia cradled their newborn daughter in the hospital room, with Emma perched excitedly on the edge of the bed, she knew with absolute certainty that she hadn't lost an empire. She had gained a kingdom of the heart more precious than any business could ever be. The end.